Welcome to the Power Platform Show. Full show notes for this episode can be found at nz365guy.com/306. Before we start with today's guest, here's a quick message from our sponsors. Today's show is brought to you by ISV Connected. Are you thinking about creating some IP? Not sure where to start? You should join the only community dedicated to ISV success, isvconnected.com. Why? Because navigating the Microsoft ISV landscape is better with friends. Sign up today at isvconnected.com. Well, it's time to join me with our guest. This time the show is a little different, talking with Sara Lagerquist about her journey with cancer, breast cancer specifically. And, a couple of months on now, where things are at, where she's at, and I hope you enjoy this insight into her life. Today's guest is from Stockholm, Sweden. She works as a Power Platform consultant at CRM Consultana. She's a Microsoft Business Application MVP. She speaks regularly at different events and conferences all over the globe. You can follow her on Twitter at Lagerquist Sara. Welcome to the show, Sara.
Well, thank you very much.
Good to have you on the show. This is a unique show, and because we're going to talk a bit about you and really focus on you in detail, which I'm looking forward to do.
Yes.
But before we get started, first tell us who you are, what you do for entertainment, what are your hobbies, where's your holiday vacation place, that type of thing.
Okay, so on a personal level, because summer is coming up, I spend almost all of my time right now planning my plantations for the summer. All my tables and rooms at my home is now packed with plants in different stages that I'm going to take out to my summer house where I spend all of my summer and grow tomatoes and cucumbers and beans and peas and everything you can imagine. So that's what I spend most of my time with, thinking and planning and looking forward to.
Nice. Now, I always like to ask, when it comes to food in Sweden, we know some of the traditional food, but what's some of your favorite dishes that you like to create or eat in Sweden?
Oh, well, personally, I love Mexican food.
Okay, fair enough.
There's a lot of vegetables, and there's like spices and sweet and sour and lemon. And I love most Mexican food. I love it.
Nice. Sounds good. So tell us about, just before we get into some of the detail of what your life's been like for the last 12 months, tell us a bit about your journey into low-code development. I remember I first met you from memory, as in my first vivid memory of you was outside a restaurant in Stockholm. It might have been Chris Huntingford, myself, and you having a chinwag, and might have been having a cheeky a smoke outside, I think, at the time. And, this is before you were an MVP. You had started speaking at events and stuff, and you became known as the low-code queen. But tell us in your own words your journey into the Power Platform and what that journey's been like for you.
Yeah, well, that was actually my first event speaking when I met you. But before that, I was a customer working for an education company, and Jonas Rapp was one of the consultants implementing CRM 2011 with us. We didn't have that big of a budget, so when it was all implemented and done, we needed a lot of things still needed to be done. So I started fiddling on my own, and sometimes I messed things up and needed help and called Jonas, and sometimes I found things that he said I shouldn't have. So I was the annoying customer doing that unmanaged layer on top of the managed solutions. And then when I got sick of that job, Jonas helped recruit me to become a consultant.
Nice.
Yeah.
Nice. And then you obviously got into, public speaking, because I know you've spoken at quite a few events. How did you overcome your fears in regards to public speaking, and how did you really start presenting at those community events?
Well, first thing, Jonas made it all sound so much fun. So he was definitely an inspiration. I was also ready for like the next step in what I could do to challenge myself within my work or like work related. So having Jonas as a positive, being positive about it and feeling that I want to learn new stuff, I just jumped at it. But honestly, I wouldn't have dared to if it wasn't that I had support from Jonas, because he's been like the safety net forever. When I had questions, when I had doubts, when I had anything, I've always had Jonas there.
Nice. So good to hear that support from somebody else in the community. Tell us about what life's been like for you in the past year.
Well, life took quite an unexpected turn in November last year for me. I was diagnosed with breast cancer on 9th of November. So from that point, I haven't worked. I've been doing cancer treatments and trying to process it too.
Yeah, so how did you feel when you first received the news?
I think I've been through all the emotions almost. I think I cried for like 2 days, but mostly cried about silly things. Or to me now, they feel silly, like losing my hair. Like cutting up my boobs, which I was quite satisfied with. And I was like, why are you messing with my perfect hair and my perfect boobs? Why? and and those kind of things, or like having, in my eyes at the time, my last young years would be like, okay, corona and cancer, instead of being out and feeling young and healthy. Then I went through anger phase too, when I was so angry, like, why the hell is this happening to me? I'm way too young for this. I should have gotten it when I'm 65 instead, trying to and then now I feel kind of a lot more at terms with it, but I can still like pass a mirror and like, is this really happening? Really? So sometimes I'm not sure I've totally gotten it fully.
So how did you kind of let everybody know? What was that process for you? How did you come out with your decision of letting people know? And yeah,
I think to like my closest, I was too shocked, so I just wrote like my family and a friend that I work with, so she could cancel all my meetings and work stuff, and just became practical for a while. But for like other people that I wanted to know, that I felt needed to know, I was kind of strict with how I wanted to be approached after. So I told everyone that I didn't want any heart emojis or any comments about how strong I am, or like I didn't want to feel that people were feeling sorry for me or pitying me, which was very important at that time, which is a lot less important now. It wasn't in the beginning, because also everything, all my energy at that time went around trying to be as positive as possible. And if someone would have come up and like, oh, you're so strong, heart emoji, I would probably like break down and cry, which when I was trying to be, oh, this is going to go so well. So I hated that. I was very clear with not wanting to have that reaction. But people been like super supportive and sending me stuff from all over the world, and been listening to my wishes not to send heart emoji.
So I know you set up another Instagram account around that time to document your journey. What's the handle for that Instagram account?
Unexpected boob job.
Unexpected boob job. I like your sense of humor throughout, and the way that you set the parameters of engagement with the community. What has been your experience with people And let's look at kind of three different levels. First of all, how is your family and your close friends, those that you see, around Sweden? How have they interacted and reacted with you, and kind of what did you realize about those relationships with family and friends?
Well, my closest friends have been through the same stages as me, like being angry and sad, and but when it comes to family, I feel like I have been the strong ones, almost like they want to comfort me, or I have to comfort them.
Yeah,
Because they are more worried than I am. I don't feel very worried. I haven't been very worried. Even when I was sad, I was more sad about practical things like losing my hair.
Yeah.
So for family, I've been strong, and with friends, I've been not weak, but more vulnerable and
Yeah.
open.
So you've lent on your friends and used them as support.
Yeah, and also like my boyfriend has been an amazing support.
Awesome.
Of course, he's been like doing all the house chores and dog walks and making sure I'm
Nice.
okay, and like sometimes maybe I get an energy boost and start something and don't have the energy to finish, and he'll finish it. So he's been amazing through all of it.
So good, so good. What about general public? Like going out in public. I've experienced been with my mother-in-law, and she went through a similar process to you. And I remember walking into a casino one day, and she had a scarf on her head, and the security policy was she had to take it off, and because she had lost her hair well, and it was just very confronting and offensive, if you like, as well, in the same time. Just because of a lack of that public awareness. How have you found engagement in public?
So it's been Corona. So I haven't been too much in the public, which, so having cancer during Corona has been kind of comforting because I haven't felt FOMO. I haven't felt like, okay, I'm missing this wedding, this 30th party, or traveling, or looking at all my friends getting together and having fun without me. But at the other hand, I haven't been able to bring anyone with me to chemo sessions, which would have been allowed otherwise, or to doctor appointments or anything. I've been going to them alone. And haven't been out much, but when I am, and I'm half vaccinated now, and I'm doing things outside, most people are like being extra friendly towards me because I don't wear anything on my head. I show my bald head, or right now I have sporadic hair growth, so I have some patches there actually. So people are like extra polite towards you, and some people stare like a lot, like they've never seen anyone without hair, and I'm like, that's so weird. And also I feel like I'm taking advantage of having cancer, because before I'm sure someone would like look at me if I'm wearing my blue sweatpants and a shirt with stains on it. People would be like, oh, that's gross. And now I can wear or look however I want, because everyone's like, oh, she's sick. That's fine.
Yeah. How are the people in the community, and I'm talking about the Power Platform community around the world who have known you, how have they supported you through this stage, and is there any particular people that kind of stand out in your mind?
So I think some people have told me, and probably a few that haven't told me, said that they haven't been wanting to approach me at all because of my initial wish on how to be approached. So they've just like left me a bit alone, which has been nice too. And some have been like sending messages and gifts. to me, and just checking in. And checking in has both been super frustrating and super nice. And I'm kind of torn with my initial wish to be approached in that way too, because when Jonas got his stroke, my initial like reaction were to be like sending heart emojis and saying like, I'm here for you, is there anything I can do? The exact reaction I didn't want. So I was kind of so I want to give that reaction, but I don't want to receive it. And so I've been a bit conflicted, and I haven't figured out really what I want, what I like. I just know that I have a lot of feelings about it, and they change all the time.
Yeah. Tell me, and that's an interesting one, because your feelings do change often. During the good days, the bad days, how do you deal with the situation with cancer physically as well as mentally? And how do you, if you like, create some form of mental relief for yourself?
My good days and bad days. Well, during chemo, which is what I started with a few like days after I got my diagnosis, I had mostly bad days. There were very few good days. So all I did was pretty much sleep and watch bad Christmas movies, and then sleep a bit more. And I had zero energy and felt nauseous and had pains all over all the time. And then when I had a good day or a good couple of hours or something, I had all of these plans and happiness in my body that I want to, like, oh, I want to cook this and it will take 3 hours and I want to do this. So it was like, I really felt that really taking care of that time that I had good time. And when it comes mentally, right now, most of my days are good days. I have a few bad days. And then I just allow myself to feel sad and just lay on my sofa again, doing nothing, maybe crying a bit, maybe not, and just letting it be, because I know that most days are good days.
Yeah. Interesting. Tell me about what was the treatment process, from since November through to now. What has that been, and what's been the impact on you of the treatment?
So I can start with, so my tumor is hormonal HER2 positive, which is previously called aggressive cancer. But at the same time, my tumor is slow growing. It has no spread to my lymph nodes, and it was about a little less than 4 centimeters big. So with all those like qualities of the tumor and my age, they decided to do chemo first for 4 months, with the idea to shrink the tumor as much as possible before surgery. So I started with chemo, and you do 2 types of chemo almost always, because they like attack the tumor in different ways. And my tumor responded very well to that. It shrunk and like changed density. I say it became fluffy. And so I did 4 months of that, and the chemo was at the same time as it was the hardest thing I've ever done. It was a lot less difficult than I thought, because I had this image, like from movies, that you spent your days throwing up all the time. And that was what the first thing my doctor said, like, it's not like in the movies, okay? So you're not supposed to throw up. You're not supposed to feel sick, because then you have to take medicine. So during chemo, I don't know how much medicine I ate. I ate something for nausea that gave me other side effects that I took other medicines for, that gave me a third type of side effect that I took medicine for. So it was a lot of medicine. So I did feel nauseous sometimes, and did try to take some medicine that didn't always help. I had nosebleeds every day. I had urine infections. I was tired the whole time. I had pain in my hands and feet, and I still have that even though I've stopped chemo. So it hurts to walk or like do things that means pressure on my hands. I had or I have numb fingers. I hope that it will disappear. It doesn't always disappear. It might be something for life. So I'm out of breath by just a little amount of effort. I'm mentally slow. Everything I forget things. I'm just confused a lot more than before, and I'm still that even though it's a month. So there were still a lot of side effects, but not like what you see in the movies. So even though I just told you a lot of side effects, I would say it wasn't as bad as I imagine.
Yeah. Was there anything that really surprised you through the process that you didn't expect or you weren't aware going to happen?
Well, I didn't expect to laugh when I lost my eyelashes or my hair because I thought it was so funny. Because so everything that's happening to my body, I've been fascinated by. I'm like, oh my God, is this happening? Is this happening? Does this work? So it's kind of been like an educational process too that I've found kind of fascinating and sometimes amusing. Because when you're used to looking away and then you have this radical change as I have had, I think you can't do nothing but laugh at it. I kind of find it funny. So I don't, most of the time I don't recognize myself in the mirror anymore. But I have this awesome wig too. And as soon as my eyelashes are back, I can pretty much look like normal. But yeah, and I look so good in short hair. I did not expect that.
Yeah.
I thought I would look like shit, but yeah. So that was a good surprise.
So good. So good. What's it's been interesting knowing Serum Consultant, knowing the management staff there, and also the massive team of MVPs. Of course, that make up part of the organization you work for. What's their reaction, support been like for you? Because it's interesting now, Jonas working in the same company as you there, and losing two key staff must have been quite an impact on them. But what's their support like been for you?
So I haven't heard anything about like, oh, it's so hard that you're away now or anything. Just the other way, like, is there anything we can do? I think my CEO has been calling and checking in a few times, and she's been very emotional and really just caring about me getting healthy or feeling good and not worrying about work at all. So she's been over here and walking with me for a couple of times too, just taking walks. So they've been like mega supportive, and I can't imagine to work at a better company when being ill or sick like this. They've been, it's weird too, not working, not being part of the community, but I have zero energy. And sometimes when I do get energy, I worry about how it will be to catch up with everything that I haven't kept track on for all of these months. And then I think that when that day comes, I'll deal with that later because I don't have the energy right now to think about that.
Yeah, and that's fair enough. How much, from where you are looking ahead now to the future, what do you see? What does the I go to say, what's the roadmap ahead look like? But what's things looking like for you now? What do you see coming up for you? What are kind of key milestones, and what will the impact, do you feel, be on you in the coming months?
Oh, right. Yes. So I did chemo for 4 months, and 3 weeks ago I did surgery. I had surgery. So they removed the leftovers of my tumor, and actually tomorrow I will find out if the cancer was dead or not, pretty much, which will determine how exactly the future of my treatment will look. But I know a few things because since my tumor is HER2 positive, or aggressive, as they called it before, it has like a protein on the tumor that stimulates cell growth. So it's dividing even faster than tumors without this protein. But like 20 years ago or something, they found these antibodies treatment for the HER2 positive tumors. So I get those every third week for a year, and that makes the prognosis for survival, I guess. But I haven't even thought about death once in this. But at the same as if I hadn't been HER2 positive,
right?
So I'm going to continue with those antibodies until all through December, I think. And I will also do so all treatment from now on after surgery is to make sure I don't get the cancer back. Everything before, like the chemo and surgery, is to remove the cancer. So I also have radiation sessions left. That is every weekday for 23 times. So for almost 5 weeks, I'm doing radiation. And it's just like super local radiation where the tumor were to kill anything that might have been left or something. And then depending on what they say tomorrow, there's a risk that I will need some more chemo because the cancer wasn't completely dead, also as a precaution. And then they will give it at the same time as I get my antibodies. So every third week, I will get a small dose of chemo too. But it's not as bad as the previous chemo. I will not lose my hair or anything. I think the normal side effects from that chemo is like numbness in fingers and hands and feet too. But the danger is that if you get too much of that, it can be permanent. And so I'm not sure that they would want to give it to me since I already have issues with that. So I'll see tomorrow at the doctor's appointment, but I have a couple of months of treatments left anyway. And then also like the side effects regarding me feeling tired and mentally slow and out of breath, those side effects will probably last a bit longer. No one knows how long. It's very individual. So we'll also see like how fast I can recover from that. But also a good thing with getting cancer at 32 is that your body can bounce back in another way than when you're older. So I'm trying to see it as a positive thing nowadays.
Awesome. What are you looking forward to when it's kind of, it's a chapter finished in your life? What are you looking forward to?
I'm not sure. I don't think I've gotten that far ahead in my thoughts yet. I'm thinking in small steps pretty much. When I was during chemo, I was like, oh, maybe soon I can count that I'm halfway. Maybe soon I can count. So I think I'm too worried to not worried, but like I don't want to go ahead of myself. So I'm just gonna take like every day, see what the doctor says tomorrow, see what's coming next. If it's something I've learned from this, it's that a lot of cliches are actually true.
Yeah.
So like perspective, that's important. and cherish life and all those like things that people put above their bed myths and stuff that I just rolled my eyes at and laughed about before, they're actually true. I actually have perspective. I actually feel that there's more to life than work. There's more to life than being frustrated. I do see things differently already. So I, who used to control everything or feel like I wanted to control everything, I'm a lot more zen now. I'm like, oh, we'll see what happens will happen. And also I don't worry about like getting cancer back or what's if I'm gonna get chemo tomorrow or not. I just, because the worst thing you can do is to worry about something and then maybe it doesn't happen and then you wasted all of that time worrying. Say I don't get cancer back, and then should I worry for 60 more years that I might get cancer back? Or I can just live life, and if it turns out that in 5 years I had the cancer back, well, okay, I'll deal with that then, rather than worrying.
Yeah, so good, great perspective. Any final words that you'd have to the community, to other people might be, staring down in a similar situation?
I think my biggest insight during this is not to think about the life I could have had if I hadn't gotten cancer, which was my focus in the beginning. Like, it's about to think about what you can do with your life that you have, because you have life. So that would be like my biggest share, to not dig into that feeling too much about what you're missing out on or what it could have been.
I like it. Well, as you're well aware, I always like to end these episodes with some random questions.
Oh, okay. I'm ready.
Are you ready for your random questions?
But think also that I'm a bit slow mentally, so be nice.
They are random, so
okay.
I will be nice. And of course, if you don't have the answer, you can just say pass.
Okay.
Okay, here's the first one. Would you rather win the lottery or live twice as long?
Win twice as long.
Nice. If you could switch places with one of your friends for a day, who would it be?
A guy, so I can have a day.
I love it. Which session? Sorry, that's cracking me up. Okay, which season fits your personality?
All of them. I love all of them, and I'm
nice.
In constant change, so I'm all of them.
I like it. What are some of your personal rules that you refuse to break?
Wow. I say none. I always change my mind, so I couldn't even tell myself that.
I love it. What's your favorite family tradition?
Ooh, I have pass. No idea.
Okay. Final one.
Okay.
Have you quit smoking?
Yes.
Great. I hope you haven't quit drinking, because you're a lot of fun when we're out drinking.
Well, I have, but I think that one is temporary.
Nice. Good call. Sara, it's been great having you on the podcast today. I know that a lot of people wanted to understand, how your journey's been and what you've been through. So thank you so much for coming on and sharing so candidly.
Thank you for having me.
Hey, thanks for listening. I'm your host, Business Application MVP Mark Smith, also known as the NZ365 guy. If there's a guest that you'd like to see on the show, maybe a story to tell from the trenches, the Power Platform trenches, that you think would impact the wider community, feel free to reach out to me on LinkedIn, private message me there, and let's have a chat. If you would like to leave a review for the show, please go to nz365guy.com/review. Otherwise, stay safe out there and see you next time.